right, before any new viewers who are Dolphins fans cry out, "Et tu, Gertai," as I do this Bills podcast, just want to let you know that this is something I always do. My sponsors, they want me to cover many teams, as many teams as I possibly can. They pay the bills. But also, I really love the game of football. There was a time, most of my life, I was just a Dolphin fan. That's all I cared about. Played, watched. Dolphins were it if I watched. But as I got older, over the last couple of years, I really started to appreciate the game as an art form. And that's what I think it is. I think it's an art form. So I like to cover it because of that. But also, as a Dolphins reporter, coverage guy, the more I know about other teams, the better I can cover and present good information to Fins fans. Instead of saying, oh, we're going to win this week, Super Bowl this year. So I'm going to go do a podcast on the Bills. I got a lot of Bills viewers that watch, so they understand, and Fins fans that understand, and all the teams and stuff like that. So this is just a little shout out to the new fans and the Fin fans. So my point today is I'm really digging into the idea that the run game is coming back. It's growing in importance. Obviously, the run defense along with it. But the run game itself on both sides of the balls is starting to rise again in prominence. Now, still a passing league. It's never going to come back to the way it used to be. But the running game was pretty much an afterthought for a while. But now I see it growing in importance. And the Bills, especially, and in the AFC East, the run game is kind of becoming a little bit of an arms race. Started with Allen on the move, creating problems for the defense with that kind of run attack, but really no run game from the running backs to support him. Then last year, the Patriots, they went all in on the run game. Jets kind of did a little bit and then went even more this year. And then the Dolphins added two big offensive linemen and a head coach, and Mike McDaniel, that's all about running the football. Obviously, there's other elements of the game, but that's the foundation. So everywhere you look in the AFC East, you're seeing the run game being more of a focus. And obviously, along with that, like I said, the run defense. Now, I'm going to get into all that on another podcast because I think the run attack and run defense are going to be primary aspects for the AFC East. Now, not every division is the same, but for the AFC East, I'm seeing this as being absolutely essential. And for the Bills fans, you know, I've been covering you for 2 years, and remember, for those who've seen me before know, and maybe new ones, I'll let you guys know too, I said entering last year, run game was going to be critical. Critical for many reasons. You have a 17-game schedule, which it's only one more game, but it's one more car wreck. And it's just more fatigue on the body. And if you run out, if your time of possession gets really skewed up, bad. By the end of that season, your defense can be playing 1-2 extra games. And that's a lot, especially if you have hopes to go into the playoffs. And the Bills, their defense started getting gassed early on in the season. They had lots of time of possession. The defense was off the field a lot. They were looking like gangbusters. But then as Brian Dable decided to go to fun ball, time of possession got away from them, and more injuries, and the defense kind of got weaker and weaker and weaker. This year it's going to be different. Allen is not going to carry the rushing attack. The rushing attack is going to be more conventional and more prolific. Not saying Allen's not going to be a factor. He's obviously going to be a factor. But what I said last year, too, was the more attention you pull off Allen and put someplace else, the more dangerous he is. As I said, Dan Marino, one of the greatest quarterbacks and throwers of the football of all time. Without a running game, teams learned how to slow him down in critical situations. In some situations, you have to run the football. And if you can't, you get in trouble. Your defense, it gets tired. Now, the reason I'm doing this podcast, instead of just mashing it all up in the AFC East, is because I was going through to study for that podcast, and I noticed that David Quisenberry was signed to the Bills in April 21st. That was a little bit of an under-radar signing. But this guy played right tackle for the Titans last year. The Bills brought in Saffold III from the Titans. So he was the left guard, and Quisenberry was the right tackle. And they brought both those in. One in a big signing early on with Saffold and a little under-the-radar signing with Quisenberry. And these were big moves for as far as talent goes, but also entails on how the Bills are going to be a balanced offense. And this should scare everybody in the NFL, the AFC, and most notably the AFCE East, because they got to play them twice. I'm not saying the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC. I'm not going to say they're going to win division. There's a lot from here to there. But what I am saying is they're going to be a lot tougher out early on, and even more so late and at home than they were in 2021. Far, far more dangerous. Now, they already had Dawkins, who's an excellent left tackle. But even he found himself in trouble with Dable's fun ball system of constantly throwing the football. Everybody knew what the Bills were going to do. I mean, just about everybody knew when it was going to be a run with Allen, or if not, it was just going to be a pass. And very rarely would they actually run the football. And this put the offensive line in jeopardy because they are constantly in defense. When you run the football a lot, offensive linemen, they get to attack. It brings them confidence. It puts a little nerves in the defense because then they have to start guessing, was it pass, is it run? And then they start getting beat up as well. This is why the running game is very critical. It's not going to win you the Super Bowl unless you have a fantastic defense, like unbelievable. But when you got enough of it, I mean, you look at the last series of Super Bowls, and really it was determined by the offensive line and the run game. You know, Mahomes, he won his first Super Bowl because Damian Williams and his little scramble at the end. Second Super Bowl, Tampa was able to run the football. The offensive line by KC broke down. Mahomes had a pass all day long and was beat to snot. Okay? This Super Bowl, same thing. Rams, that offensive line held out in the second half. Defense clamped down on the Bengals, but they were able to get some critical runs to take pressure off Stafford and put them over the top. Again, it's not going to be the pie, but it's a little bit more than icing on a cake. And the Bills with Spencer Brown, who they drafted last year in the third round, little small, I mean, tall, but thin, 6'8", 290, but he excelled. His best attribute was running the football. He's coming back to play right tackle. And then you're going to have Quisenberry, who's probably going to fight or be backup. But I think he's going to get that right guard spot. And then you have, like I said, Saffold at that left guard spot and Dawkins. And these four pieces are very good run blockers. And you got all that depth now behind this offensive line. Last year it was thin. Last year it was absent of some elite talent. But now you've got four very good pieces with lots of backup and depth behind them. And you got Reggie Gilliam, fullback, 6'1", 255. Guy's a sledgehammer. He needs and he will see more action. Not going to the old teacup football, but you get this guy a little bit more action. You're going to beat these opposing defenses up without using Allen's body. Allen is a star. He's a monster on the move. But all it takes is that small little hit, not to even blow the guy's knee out, just to gimp him up at the wrong time to send his whole franchise off the rails. The less time a lot of times he has to carry that football, the less chance you're going into that lottery where this guy could meet disaster. And it happens to every mobile quarterback. So taking him out of that lottery, putting it in the running back's hands, but more importantly, this offensive line creating holes, dominating, not being on its heels all game, and then having Gilliam come in. You got some okay tight ends at blocking. Creates fear in the defense. And 4 pretty good running backs. Singletary, 5'7", 207. He's a little bit of everything. Guy's a good back. Like him. You got Duke Johnson, former Dolphin. Some Dolphin fans don't know why Duke Johnson's not with us. It's because really Duke is better served in inside zone and zone stretch. Duke gets tentative at the line of scrimmage when the play is not on track. It's off its script. And if it happens too early to the line of scrimmage, he gets indecisive. And so for him, the inside zone kind of gives him more options and doesn't really have to make him read as much. And not to mention, the offensive line talent here is much bigger and will create more space to get him over that line of scrimmage where he can use his strength and power to break tackles and to enforce his will. Then you got Zach Moss. A lot of Bills fans were like kind of off with him. They kind of like didn't like him. But really, again, he just didn't fit in last year's system. In this one, that 220-pound body, that I still remember him slamming into Landon Roberts in the first game against the Dolphins. The physicality to drive himself, and Roberts was unbelievable hit, but he got off that and got that touchdown. And that shows the kind of guy he is. And he's going to use that to enforce his will. And then Bills drafted James Cook, who he's a scat back, instincts are good hands, threat as that third down back, even though his blocking skills are a little off, but you can get around that. Guy's going to develop. So you got these 4 good backs, all this talent up in the front. And then you got Allen, who he's going to be able to do play action. And if this run game becomes a real threat, just imagine his arm with his receiving core at both the tight end and receiving position, taking advantage of safeties, linebackers, biting for a real on the run game. Or even his boots out to either pass or run. The danger is going to be magnified greatly. And this should be a very exciting thing for Bills fans. And my friend Tommy from Mafia Sports Talk show. I screwed the name of that thing up, man. I'm going to get it, Tommy, I promise. Good guy. But he had such a cogent point. The Bills designed their offense for a dome. They designed their offense and scheme for a good weather area. The AFC East has terrible weather. Even in Miami, you get rain, hurricanes, wind. Sometimes you get sun, rain, all in one game. This really puts pressure on teams that are based all about the past. I mean, look at the Bills, what they had experienced last year when they had home field advantage against the New England Patriots, and the Patriots came in and just ran the football to victory. So they learned, and the AFC has learned. And, I'm going to go over the other teams, and you'd be surprised. I was surprised at how much ammo all 4 teams have really invested into being more balanced and running the football. But the Bills might have done the most. And again, this will make the Bills highly dangerous. Doesn't mean they're going to win. No. Injuries, poor coaching, poor plays can have a better team lose, change whole seasons. But from a schematic standpoint, from a setup standpoint, from a scheme standpoint, from a philosophy standpoint, everything's going to flow out differently. When you run the football, you take care of your offensive line who are attentive. You give time to your defense and keep them off the field. And you give your quarterback a second option for the defense to be concerned about, and all this stuff is going to come to the Buffalo Bills this season. They're going to be very dangerous. And this run game is going to be something that many fans are going to be a little shocked with. So this is Curtis saying AFC East, we are moving towards more balance, and I dare say run serious offenses. And I think it should be exciting for fans. True fans of the game, I think really appreciate seeing the pass and seeing the run. And I think it's going to be an exciting year for us. All 4 teams did good stuff. So anyway, get yourself ready. This is Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comments mean the most, especially from fans of the team that I cover. Helps me understand them better, helps me become a better cover of your team and my own team and just understanding the game. So I appreciate it. I learned so much from comments. Subscribes and likes help us with the Google overlords and keep my sponsor happy so I can stay in business. So I like that too. Anyway, catch you again soon. AFC East coverage, Dolphins coverage. Catch you next time. This is Curtis saying be well. See you soon. Bookies can earn hundreds to thousands of dollars from booking action with aceperhead.com.